AHumbleSoul, we checking back in. This time we taking it to Florida, placing the spotlight on YNW Melly. If you're not already connected and tapped into the channel, man, hit that subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. And if you enjoy the content, be sure to hit the like button. Let's get into it.
All right. What's that say above your eyebrow on that side?
Which side?
Oh, either one. What's it?
I know I got Sat Chase right here. That's my brother. That's my twin.
Okay.
And I got Juvie.
Juvie?
Yeah, that's my brother.
Just a lot of your friends who passed?
Yeah. No, them my niggas right there.
Oh, okay.
My brothers right there.
My bad. I wouldn't get none of my friends tattooed on my face until they died.
Yeah.
I'm not a good friend like you are, apparently.
This shit for life.
For more than 5 years, Florida rapper YNW Melly has been locked up in Broward County, Florida, for allegedly murdering 2 of his childhood friends, Christopher Thomas Jr., aka YNW Juvie, and Anthony Williams, aka YNW Sack Chaser. Juvie was reportedly 19 when he lost his life, and Sack Chaser was 21. The horrific double murder occurred in the early hours of October 26, 2018. Prior to the shooting, Melly, Juvie, Sack Chaser, and YNW Bortland rode together to New Era Recording Studios in Fort Lauderdale, where they met up with a few other people for a 12-hour recording session. By the time they left the studio, it was in the early hours of October 26th of 2018. Melly, Juvie, Sack Chaser, and YNW Bortland all got into a Jeep Compass. Bortland was driving, Sack Chaser was in the front passenger seat. Melly reportedly got in the back seat on the left behind Bortland, and Juvie got in the right rear passenger seat, behind Sack Chaser. There's surveillance footage showing the group leave the studio, and there's also footage showing YNW Bortland driving up to the Miramar Memorial Hospital around 4:30 a.m. with the bodies of Juvie and Sack Chaser in his SUV. It shows him running into the entrance of the hospital to let the staff know that his 2 friends had been shot. And he also had informed law enforcement that they had been in a drive-by. According to reports, Bortland initially told law enforcement they were riding on Interstate 75 near Miramar Parkway on their way to Melly's house when a vehicle pulled on the side and started letting off shots. Melly had reportedly parted ways with them by the time the shooting took place, so it was only supposedly Bortland, Sack Chaser, and Juvie in the SUV at the time of the shooting. Law enforcement started to conduct an investigation. They went to the area where Bortland said the shooting took place, but they were unable to find any evidence that supported his story. However, they reportedly reviewed cell phone data that showed the Jeep was on Pines Boulevard and Pembroke Road in a desolated area near the Everglades. Detectives found evidence of a shooting in that area along with multiple shell casings. After conducting their investigation, they came to the conclusion that this wasn't a drive-by, but that Melly shot both of his friends, had Bortland drive to a desolate area where he got out and shot up the back and the sides of the SUV to make it seem like it was a drive-by. It's alleged that Melly then parted ways with Bortland and had Bortland drive to the hospital and also, informed law enforcement that they had been the victims of a drive-by.
Up-and-coming Florida rapper YNW Melly, also known as Jamel Demons, is now in jail, charged with murdering 2 men he called his friends. 21-year-old Anthony Williams on the left and 19-year-old Christopher Thomas Jr. Local 10 News cameras were rolling back in October outside the Miramar Memorial Hospital emergency room. Detectives say the 2 victims arrived here in this 2018 Jeep, the back windshield appearing to be shot up. Both men pronounced dead moments later from gunshot wounds. Investigators telling us 20-year-old Cortland Henry drove both victims to the hospital, claiming they were victims of a drive-by shooting. The next day, the rapper tweeting, quote, "They took my brothers from me over jealousy." But detectives say the claims didn't add up with what they found, And following their forensic investigation, Wednesday night, police announcing the arrest of YNW Melly and Henry, accusing the rapper of shooting and killing his two so-called friends and working with Henry to stage the crime.
In February of 2019, YNW Melly was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. YNW Portland was also arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, as well as 2 counts of accessory after the fact. In 2020, Portland was released on bond and pleaded not guilty. Melly, however, never received a bond, and he's been incarcerated since 2019. Melly's murder trial began in June of 2023 and lasted for approximately 4 weeks. After testimony from multiple people, audio played, graphics shown, as well as messages, etc., the jury revealed on July 22nd of 2023 that they couldn't make a unanimous decision on whether or not Melly was guilty of double murder. The case ended in a mistrial.
Thank you. Please be seated. Let the record once again reflect the presence of the defendant, his counsel, Assistant State Attorney, and the ladies and gentlemen jury. Ladies and gentlemen, received a jury inquiry form. It indicates that after further discussions, reviewing the evidence, and speaking freely amongst the jury, we are still unable to reach a unanimous decision. So at this time, what I'm going to do is just declare a mistrial, the case was mistried, and indicate to you that how much we appreciate the fact that you were here and willing to serve. One thing I'm trying.
Melly's retrial is currently scheduled to begin in September of 2025. YNW Juvie's father is somebody who was vocal during Melly's murder trial. He did an interview where he talked about, knowing Melly and knowing Melly's family, and opened up about how his son, YNW Juvie, Sack Chaser, and Melly were all childhood friends, and that after the shooting took place, he actually FaceTimed YNW Melly and YNW Portland, and he said he knew then that they were responsible, for the murders of Sack Chaser and Juvie.
Melly is saying that he is innocent. His defense attorneys are saying the state can't prove its case. But it's my understanding you believed from the very beginning that Melly was responsible for your son's death and the death of Anthony.
From the day one, I believe that Melly was responsible for my son's death on October 26th when I first heard the story, because his explanation, when I finally talked to him in Cortland on a FaceTime, their response and how they was reacting, they showed no remorse. They didn't act like they was grieving, like they lost a best friend or nothing. They was, in my opinion, they was in the best spirits. They never came to town, never came to my son's funeral, never came to Sack's funeral. And these are your best friends. He passed straight through the county of Indian River, went to Brevard and did a music video, but he couldn't even stop and pay his condolences to his best friend's mom.
Chris, why do you think that this happened? Why do you think, Melly did this? Because, Melly is on trial. The state has to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed these crimes. But why do you think this happened?
I think the story about the $200,000 with Anthony was a true story because it's not reported, but Chris told me the same story, and also it was a $500,000 play, and Melly was going to get $200,000, Sack was going to get $200,000, Chris was going to get $100,000, and as I'm hearing it from Chris, they was going to sell the YNW brand, not a record deal or nothing like that. It was like for the brand itself, and by them being founding members, they was going to get a piece of the pie. So I don't think Melly did it on his own. I think that manager guy got in his ear and did a little divide and conquer. Because if it was up to Sack, it would never be a 100K management.
Was there any sign of bad blood before your son's life was taken and before Anthony was killed? Or was there any tension there that you knew of?
Not with Juvie, not with Chris, but you heard things about him and Anthony getting into like altercations about disputes about money over certain situations, and they got in a fight prior to that, and they said, like, the story that they say Sack beat him up and knocked his goals out in front of his girlfriend, and like 2 days later, I think that's when the incident happened.
During his trial, Melly's affiliation with the Bloods, specifically a set called G-Shine, also known as the Gangsta Killer Bloods, was highlighted.
For those who may have missed some of this discussion, this was effectively an argument being made that Melly was trying to become a member of the Bloods and therefore was trying to impress people. The suggestion has been, that was, he's proving he's making his bones there to take a mob, characterization. He impressed somebody, so he's going to knock off a couple of folks that he had a friendly relationship with, and that's going to endear him to the Bloods, and he'll rise in that gang. But very interesting, Bryson, that at this point we haven't seen a lot of evidence of that, just the suggestion that was a motivation. So
G-Shine is a blood set that originated on the East Coast before it migrated to different areas. It was alleged that his gang affiliation may have played a part as a motive for the 2018 murders of his two friends.
Not. Just because you have a connection or affiliation with an organization which may have a known criminal history, it doesn't automatically make you guilty of any crime. It just means that you have an affiliation. I don't think the prosecution has done enough to tie that affiliation to the murders of Stack and Juvie. So absolutely not. Just because you are affiliated with any group, that doesn't automatically mean that you are a criminal or that you even performed anything in conjunction with their criminal activity. So,
aside from his double murder, Melly was also charged with witness tampering. He's accused of using an inmate to help him communicate with YNW Bortland, who in turn allegedly communicated with Melly's ex-girlfriend as well as his ex-girlfriend's mom with the intent to influence them to not testify.
Demons. Rapper YNW Melly facing even more trouble this week, now accused of tampering with a witness in his double murder case. New allegations say he developed a, quote, sophisticated system to communicate with individuals outside of the Broward County Jail, including his co-defendant, Cortland Henry. According to court documents, Melly, who does not get phone privileges while in custody, recruited another inmate named Terrence Mathis to help him talk to Henry. They also say Henry, who is on house arrest waiting for his own murder trial, allegedly delivered messages for Melly more than 100 times in the last year. During one of those calls, a detective heard Mathis giving directions to Henry to keep Rihanna away from court. Rihanna, investigators say, is a code name for Melly's former girlfriend, Mariah Hamilton, who has not been cooperative with the state's investigation so far.
YNW Melly is currently suing the Broward County Sheriff's Office, and he's requested to be released from jail immediately as he prepares for his new trial. His lawsuit claims that the conditions he's been living in while incarcerated are cruel, unusual, and beyond belief. The lawsuit alleges Melly's constitutional rights are being violated and he's being mistreated. The lawsuit says Melly has been kept in isolation for over 3 years. Melly has been unable to make a single phone call or have a visit with his family or friends, and has also been barred from meeting with his legal team on several occasions. The lawsuit says that the conditions Melly has dealt with since being incarcerated has affected his mental health as well as his ability to prepare for his new trial. Aside from his case, YNW Melly is an artist that has been able to acquire a nice amount of fame. He had his breakout in 2017 and went on to work with people like Kanye West, Lil Durk, King Von, and the list goes on. He's had multiple songs that have went gold and platinum. His biggest hit to date, which is his most controversial song as well, is called Murder on My Mind. The song received newfound attention because of his murder case. It was released before the whole incident involving the murders of his two childhood friends and him going away. Murder on My Mind has been certified 6 times platinum. The video has reached more than 600 million views on YouTube alone, and the song has also reached the Billboard charts.
I literally woke up in the jail cell and I was like, wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. And the bitch was like, get up, time to get up. Murder.
YNW Melly. He's locked up right now in Broward County, waiting to go to trial a second time in this double murder case. You know, his new trial is scheduled to begin in September of 2025. If convicted of the 2 murders, you know, Melly faces the death penalty. If not that, he could be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, you know. That's what it's looking like right now in YNW Melly's case. You know, condolences to the families of YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser, who lost their lives back in October of 2018. Gonna stay tuned and stay posted on how everything pans out with this situation, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to hit the like button, man. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so ASAP if you rocking with the content. You know, until next time, I'm gonna holler at y'all 100.